Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about a cryptocurrency project that is backed by a real world asset, a really shiny, beautiful real world asset. So it's a way of diversifying your cryptocurrency portfolio into something that has real tangible physical value. To find the best cryptocurrency investments, check out Token Metrics. Use my affiliate link for a discount. Safety and security notice, please watch out for comments like this by scammers pretending to be me or other crypto YouTubers. Also, please follow me on bittube.video. You can also follow me on Odyssey. These are both censorship-resistant platforms, and every now and then I am going to post a video which isn't going to be on YouTube. Hey, David, thank you so much for making yourself available. This is the second video that we've done very recently, and we did one where we talked about your work you do as the silver guru. Do you just want to say a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I've been interested in money since I was a kid. And at 16, I started trading stocks. And I've actually had an aircraft background for a while, but I was also very avid in the silver market. When I went and got my degree in business, the finance teacher said, we've got a silver expert in our class. And I never thought of myself as that, but I had a private discussion with her for a few hours and she made that assessment. But I broke out into the field under a certified financial planner, and I worked under him for a while. I actually did sell coins for a very brief time. Traded for a living for a while, but mostly I've just studied the silver and gold markets and monetary history, fiat currencies. Mostly my big picture thing is the big money question and how money ebbs and flows and what effect it has on society. So the big picture, of course, is monetary history. So fascinated by it, still learning, and that's my bio.
Right. Okay. And then we're going to be talking about a project called Load One, which is a cryptocurrency project. So even though you talk about silver on your website and your podcast, themorganreport.com, and I'll have the links in the description below. And you also talk about the value of gold, where your heart is with silver, but you're also involved with ag.load.one, and I have the link to that in the description below. Do you want to talk us through that?
Sure. I was at the Vancouver Gold Show several years ago, and a good friend, had this few people with him, like 6 or 7. And said, could we, give them our time? And they wanted to share something about the crypto world dealing with silver. And so we sat down and had a pretty involved meeting. And it was based on this ag.load.one, which is the URL. But it was a silver-only crypto. And at the time it began, which is no longer the case, but at the very, very beginning, I said, yeah, I'm in to reinstitute silver as a monetary asset for the people of the world. That's my dream. To put power, money is power, which I believe it is. And you can put money into the people's hands, and money is different than currency. Currency is what the government tells you is money, which is a lie. So if you could put silver back into people's hands, gold as well, then you've put in power back to where it belongs. And the people have the power and not the bank. So I said, I'm in. So at the beginning, the only way that you could participate in the Load project was silver. You couldn't use fiat of any kind. No strike, unacceptable. You couldn't use pounds. You couldn't use US dollars. Didn't matter. Unacceptable. The only way you could participate in the Load project in the beginning was with silver. So I contributed X amount of ounces and became one of the one of the contributors to the project. And that's how the program started. So people were putting their silver into what we call the monetary mass. And that was the funding required to start the project. Well, as things moved on, things changed. They changed the terms and conditions, made it very apparent to everybody, we're changing this. Do you want to stay or do you want to go? Well, I'm in for the long haul, So I stayed during the change. Changes have actually ebbed and flowed. I think the current system is refined and better for everybody, but that's my opinion on it. So after some time, and I can't tell you when, Crypto Rich, but at some point we opened it up where, you can still contribute silver or gold. So it opened up to silver and gold. it opened up where you can contribute silver and gold or gold to the system and be part of the load mass, which pays out benefits in rewards regarding how the system progresses. Or you can buy the token side, which is just an asset-backed token, or you could call it a coin, that's digital, that can be converted to physical. So there's two sides of the program. There's those that fund the program itself with the monetary mass, and there's those that have just the tokens or coins. Now, if you fund it, you do get the tokens as a reward. So, for example, you could put an X amount of silver, never buy a token, but you will accumulate them as time progresses, because I think it's every 52 days, depending on how much you contributed to the project, you will be rewarded in those coins. So you're always going to have those. Now, there's people that don't want to put up any metal, and that's fine. And they can just use it like many of the other cryptos that are asset-backed or gold and silver-backed out there, and you just basically convert fiat to crypto. You can save it, spend it, save some, spend some, do whatever you want with it. So there's that aspect as well. So you don't have to participate on both sides. You can pick one or the other, or you can do both.
Okay. Well, let's look at the monetary mass. So if I wanted to contribute, say, some silver or some gold, is there a minimum amount? Is there a maximum amount?
So far as no maximum. We did have a European bank that put in 10 million euro. Oh, not that long ago. I'm going to guess 6 to 9 months ago. There is a 100-ounce minimum. I mean, you can't. It's just too cumbersome to put in a roll of Britannias. 20 coins or 25, whatever the rules are there.
Or some 1960 dimes. I put
Yeah.
in 1960 dimes.
Yeah. So it was 100 because there's a lot of 100-ounce bars. It's pretty easy to ship. And, there are two ways to do it. In the very beginning, almost everyone actually shipped physical metal they had in their house or office or bank or wherever they had it. And the company, the project did a good job in my estimation. I mean, with the internet, I mean, you printed out a receipt and the shipping label for FedEx, and they come by and pick it up and ship it off.
Okay, so if I wanted to contribute, I'd put in, say, at least 100 ounces. I'd have to send it to where load one is, which is in the United States or Canada?
Well, there's vaults all over the world, and you'd have to determine. They would call you. It wouldn't be like just through email. You'd actually talk to someone, and they would give you the best options for you. Okay. So, but the other part that's the easiest and done much more frequently now is we've got bullion dealers that are associated with the program. So you can take your fiat, turn it into what's called a silver card. That card exchanges for physical silver. So it's much easier. I mean, let's face it, shipping a bar of silver or 10 bars of silver, even 100 bars can be a bit of a pain. Whereas calling up and say, I want to exchange this fiat, I want to contribute to the monetary mass, and it's a phone call and a few clicks and you're done. So
okay, so I've contributed to the monetary mass. What is the point of this monetary mass? This great big pile of silver. What's done with it?
It's used to fund the program. So it's being sold over time to pay the guys that develop the software, to keep the website alive, to pay this storage fees on the silver that's in the vault, and that type of thing. So it's basically, rather than use fiat to start your company, we're using silver to start your company. But it can't sit there statically, otherwise you don't have a business. So like in any business, you are spending capital, which happens to be real money instead of fiat money, to make the project come alive and function.
Okay, and what does the project do? Does it invest in silver mines or something, or is it just like a savings account that people can draw revenue from?
It's a savings account, plus it's also let's say a debit card type of situation. So you could spend and save or do both. I do both, right? So let's take, for example, I put in a fair amount of silver. I put in a pretty good whack, and then as things got better and better, I put in more. So my contribution on a silver basis is, I'm thinking of the number. So I've increased my account size on the monetary mass because you can't get your silver back out, but it's based on what the value of the company is. So it's like buying shares in a company. If I spent $5 a share back 4 years ago when the company started, now they're worth $25 a share. And that's been about the amount of increase, because there's a spread. How does Mike Maloney make money on goldsilver.com? How does your UK dealers make money on selling gold and silver? There's a spread. There's a bid ask. Same thing with load. So there's a bid and there's an ask, and they have a spread just like any coin dealer. Well, when you sell enough of the tokens, the coins, do you get a markup, 7, 8, 9%, whatever the market determines, and that profit goes into the system. And some of that profit goes to replenish the monetary mass, right? And as that's replenished, it could be actually above what it started with. I would say right now it's not. I would say that the amount of silver that's been required to start the project, get the software, meet all the regulations, pay everybody, and all that, is worked in. But the company is not a startup anymore. It's a going concern. They've added gold. They've had a bank that's come into the system in a rather significant way. And I think a lot of visionaries are looking at what I'm saying, and this is biased. I've contributed to low projects, so keep that in mind as I say this next statement. But I think there's a lot of people that are now familiar with crypto, and they're starting to look at it longer term, and they're saying, there's this one, that one, and the other one, but there aren't that many that are backed by gold and silver. This one seems to be the most robust. They've got a Load Pay International, which we just came up with recently, which is, in my opinion, and as far as I know, the most robust platform for integrating Visa, MasterCard, a current credit card or debit card system with crypto. So you can use that platform to do what we all want to do. I want to turn fiat into gold. I want to turn gold into fiat. I want to turn gold onto my credit card. I want all the variables available to me in a very simple manner. I don't want to have to go to this exchange that turns it into that, and then go to another exchange that turns it into this, and then come back, put it on my credit card so I can pay for my Starbucks. So Load Pay International, I think, is leading the field. You can get a lot more by going to ag.load.one. Watch the videos, join the free newsletter. There's no obligation. We have a Telegram. We're on Telegram, so you join, and I'm just a little concerned. I want to learn more. One of the ambassadors will give you a call. The videos do a pretty good job. There's always that hesitancy, especially in the beginning. What I like about it is it's worldwide. Right. And you could start small. So a lot of people are kind of blocked out of the precious metals because, a lot of dealers, even in the UK, will say, you have to spend £1,000 or we don't want to do business with you, or 500 or whatever, even when you're buying silver. There's a minimum in a lot of them, not all of them, but many. Whereas in the load program, since it's digital, you could buy 5 grams of silver.
Now moving over to the tokens, am I right in assuming there are ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, the load tokens?
You're over my head. As far as I understand, Ethereum is the base.
Okay, so
but
they are
ERC20.
ERC20.
Have to talk to one of the tech guys to be sure. I'll just answer it as honestly as I can.
Sure, and people can check that out. I'll have the links in the description below. They can ask in the Telegram group and stuff.
Yeah.
But so let's say if I want to invest on the token side, or I want to buy some tokens, so I can buy some tokens. And is one token backed by 1 ounce of silver, or how does it?
A token is a gram of silver.
A gram
for the silver side, and it's a grain of gold for the gold side. So whatever that is, so you're really small.
Okay.
But that's affordable, right?
Yeah, that is.
And that's why now let's be real here. Someone's going to say, well, I bought, 5 grams of silver. I want to convert it. We can't. There's going to be a minimum of physical that comes back, and usually that's 20 ounces. A standard roll of silver coins is 20 or 25 ounces, depending what mint. If you're in South Africa, I think it is 25. I think the Canadians use 25 for their rolls. The U.S. uses 20 for their rolls, but it's in that range. Okay. And I think that's reasonable. Any reasonable human being is going to say, well, how am I going to ship you 5 grams of silver? You're not. But you could have 5 grams electronically. So that's the idea.
Okay. So each token is worth a gram of silver or a grain of gold, and they're pegged to the spot price of silver and gold?
Yeah, there's a spread, like I said. So it's going to be competitive with any coin dealer in the world.
Right.
So we're doing what's called the world price of silver. Because like in the UK and much of Europe, there's the spot price of silver coming out of New York or London But when you go down to the dealer, depending on what kind you're buying, if you're buying coins, it's different than if you're buying bars. But there could be a 17% value added tax on silver. Well, load eliminates that. So it's more of a free or fair market. But the amount that you pay in the UK is greater than you'd pay in the US or Canada. You might pay more in Germany than you do in the UK. So it takes into account all of the different prices of silver depending on the jurisdiction, and it weights it accordingly, which means 50%. I don't know the numbers, but the line I know the idea. The lion's share of silver purchases is North America.
Right.
So I'm just going to make up a number. 50% of all retail silver is purchased in North America. So whatever that average price is in North America, looking at Canada and the US, that's weighted at 50% of the market. So that's part of the price. But then you have to factor in the 8% in the UK, the 11% in Germany, the 9% in South America. So you come out after you do this math, and it's really not difficult math, with what is the world price of silver. Okay. And that's going to be the determinant put on the website, and you will see that price. And of course, most things are driven by price. So you see the world price. Well, that's a good price for me. I'm in the UK. That's a good deal. I'm buying that, or I'm in Germany. U.S. investor might say, well, that's about what I'd be paying, the guy down the street. Maybe I'll buy some, maybe I won't, that kind of thing. As the system becomes more and more robust, which means more and more participation, the spread will come down. Because, if you're looking at 1% of $1 billion, that's a lot of money. Whereas 1% of $1 million is 1,000 times less. So as we get more and more robust, then the premiums could come down because we could pay everybody, rebuild the monetary mass, throw a party for all the participants and everything else. But it'll take numbers. We will need it. And, I don't know how much I can say because most of the stuff isn't confidential, but we're looking at implementing this into Africa, where a lot of people have modest amount of money, but they're very good at transferring wealth or transactions over their phone.
Yeah.
And, this is perfect for load. And this entity has, I think, $1 billion equivalent with some phenomenal amount of users backing that or in the project. Take a very serious look at load because they know it's coming.
Okay.
The fiat fiesta is coming to an end. And if all of the people in Africa that use this system can have it backed by silver, and as the fiat fiesta unwinds further and they're holding their stuff in grams of silver, they're going to have a huge smile on their face.
Yes.
So I think we're going to see more and more adoption, primarily in the let's say on the sophisticated side, on the large entity side, family offices, investment banks, social media platforms that have a huge following, that type of thing. Yes, there'll be individuals. Of course, we're getting new individuals every day that come onto the platform. But I think the big moves will be where you see these type of situations that I just outlined, where everyone's in the system already, and they're using a certain platform to use crypto. And they say, we've got this and it's working really good. And you guys use it every day and there's all these transactions. But let's look at this one. What about a silver or gold backed one? What do you think? And hell yeah, not only yes, but hell yes. Why not? So that's what we're looking at.
Because you said a lot there, David, and I've got quite a few questions from the stuff you said. So one is, so that each token is backed by a gram of silver or a grain of gold. How do I know? How is it independently audited?
Yeah, always a tough. Sorry, I cut you off. Well, the whole thing is always about trust. And, I've been in precious metals basically my whole life. And some of these audits are more trustworthy than others. But if you look at the audit system, objectively, there's a lot of audits done on, let's say, mints, for example, that are, in my opinion, rather questionable of how deeply they actually go into the audit process. And a lot of times, if you read them carefully and objectively, what you'll find is that even though there's an audit and somebody signed off on it, they really haven't gone very deep. They basically accepted what the owner of the vaulting facility has told them or So in the load program, I think it's a better audit system than in most places, but it's almost impossible to look in the eye and say every frickin' gram has been accounted for.
Right.
I mean, in theory, yes, but in actuality, will that be the case with load or a mint or a depository or somebody at the CME, any of the vaults? And the answer is no. I don't think that that's a true statement. I think that any, let's say, warehouse or vault that's on the COMEX, so, the Delaware Depository, it used to be Scotia, they've left, Brinks, there's several on there, JP Morgan, you know, does someone go in and actually count, weigh, and verify every bar during their audit? The answer is absolutely not. So there's some question with every audit out there. And I'd say there's questions with the load audit. I would say that the load audit is probably a better, more precise, a more accurate one than a lot of other audits that are done. And most people accept them. Look, it's always trust. My take on the load project is this. It's an adjunct to your metals holdings. It's extremely convenient. I had a friend in the UK that bought the Silver Manifesto. To do the currency exchange from pounds to US, it's done every day, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. We did it with AGX, with the silver token, in 3 seconds flat. I couldn't believe how easy it was. I got on my wallet. I gave him my private code. He does whatever he does with it, pay. And there's the digital silver, and he gets the book. It was wonderful.
Very good. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And thank you for being so upfront and straight about it, because there's always a risk. We never, ever know. And so if I've got some load tokens, I can redeem them with a British dealer in the UK for physical silver. Well, how will the dealer...
No, let me stop you there. That's probably going to be the case in the future. And there could be 1 or 2 dealers in the UK. I'm not certain of that. The way it works presently that I'm absolutely sure of is you would go through the company, one of the dealers that we're already associated with, or one of them would ship you the silver to your address. But as it marches forward, you've got it exactly right. There will be more and more adoption, and a lot of people that are early adopters will say, "Oh yeah, I get one of those load people in, 1 a month." And then it's 1 a week, and then it's 10 a week, and then it's 12 a day. So it will accelerate, as I just outlined. But right now, that's not really the case. I don't want to mislead anybody,
Sure.
but that's the idea. Yeah. In fact, we're looking at that in Indonesia, because you may or may not know that it's very prevalent in Indonesia, especially on the gold side, to come in and take your gold necklace or your gold chain and pawn it for 5 days to do whatever you need with the cash, come back and buy it back. So load's like perfect for those kind of situations where there's immediate need to convert to the local currency or put it on a debit card and then come back and do the reverse exchange. So there's a lot to be said, but we're not at that level yet. But you nailed it. That's where we want to be. We want load to be the next digital monetary system of the universe.
Okay. And this payment card, is that available in the US?
It's a digital card. I've used it. It's available for everybody everywhere. So I load it up. So I've sold like my tokens and loaded up my debit card. And I'm a bit of a supplement nut. So these are good for us elderly folks. So I just buy this stuff with my digital debit card all day long. And it works perfectly. I have no problem. The only issue is if you need a plastic card that I use for gas and all that. But that's in work. What we're trying to do, and I think this is brilliant, and there's there's entrepreneurs everywhere. I just always love the entrepreneurial spirit. So there's a company or companies, I'm not sure, it's probably more than one, where you use your existing Visa or your existing MasterCard or your existing whatever you've got. And then this facilitator can take your token and put it onto the card you already have. So we're looking at that because it's a lot easier to facilitate it that way than go into each state in the United States, because every state has their own requirements for what they call blue sky. In other words, all the banking regulations. And that's like 50,000 per state or something in some cases. It varies. But think about that. That's a lot of fiat to be able to get a card that says load pay on it and put it in your wallet. Whereas for a much smaller fee and much quicker, we could basically take what already exists and bridge it with, your signature. You have to say, yeah, this is what I want, but just use that debit card you've already got. And now you can interact directly with your load, your load money. It's
So how
silver and
does the
gold.
token circulate? So I get the digital card, I
Yep.
have load tokens, I put them on the digital card, it gets converted to fiat, which
Hmm.
I can then spend
Yep.
online. But what happens to those load tokens that got converted to fiat? Does the card company, is there somewhere in the middle that then sends them back to you or sells them back to you or
Yeah,
something?
no, it's all in the math. So if you convert, so as soon as I converted my AGX, my load coins to fiat, they disappeared. So when I load that card with 500 fiat equivalent of AGX, that is debited out of my account forever until I buy more or contribute more silver.
Okay, but
And
where do
now that's been converted, it sits on my debit card in fiat form.
okay, but
It's just like going to the coin dealer and selling 500 pounds worth of silver. You put the silver on the counter and he gives you 500 banknotes. And now he's got the silver and you've got the banknotes. And the
right,
silver gets sold back into load. So it goes back into, you could say, the monetary mass.
right, okay. So the tokens then go to the project
Yeah.
who do provide the fiat conversion.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Now, as an ERC20 token, and I don't know if you can answer this, there is the issue of transaction fees, which can
And
be.
there's some, they're very minimal. I don't know what they are. I do know when I did the book, it was 3 seconds in duration, and I forget the markup, but it was, pennies. And I've done the conversions from the UK to US many, many times, and it wasn't that cheap. So
Right. But the transaction fees to send ERC20 tokens.
that you'd have to ask one of the techs at Load. I won't mislead because I don't know.
No, David, thank you so much. Okay. David, is there anything else you want to let us know about this project that we haven't already covered?
Well, I would say, I think it would really, Crypto Rich, I would suggest strongly that you interviewed Nick Pruden, who's the kind of the lead guy and main spokesperson for the Load project, because he could go a really deep dive with you on, ERC. And if I misspoke on anything, he could correct it. I don't think I have, because you've been pretty top level, but I think he would give you a much better in-depth interview on the Load project. And maybe just get people to go ahead and just get a wallet. I mean, get a wallet for free. Well, and I'd like to see, what I'd like to do is get you to speak with Nick.
Sure.
At the end of that, I'd like to see everyone that follows you get a Load wallet. And then the next time that you have me on, I will take out of my personal account and send, depends how many are there, so I don't want to overspeak this. I don't give an ounce of silver to everybody, but maybe 5 grams or some token amount on the token, and say, this is direct from my account. You sign up for a Load wallet. Let me reward you. Let me give you,
Silver Britannia. I want a load Silver Britannia.
We'll come up with a number that works. Something, I'm guessing 1,000 people, at $1 US each. That's $1,000. I could do that out of my account. I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Okay. Well, you're not committing to anything right now, but
I'm committing. I'll do it. I'm not committing to the amount.
sure.
But let's say it's 25 people. If that's the case, I might do, $10, and that's 250. I could easily afford that. So it's your job to get as many people on there as possible, and it's my job to swallow hard and say, "Well, I don't want to be a cheapskate. I want to give them."
Okay. Well, listen, no problem. I'd love to have you back on. I will do that interview if you connect me
I will.
with Nick from Load One to find
Yeah.
out more about it. Is there anything else you want to say before we finish up?
Just, I want to appreciate what you're doing, and many on the internet, speaking the truth, keeping a sense of humor, knowing that there are solutions. Money is important. It's not the most important thing, but if we are taking control of our own lives and want to be part of the solution, part of the solution is understanding money and taking action toward that. And you're doing that. If it's crypto, if it's gold and silver, if it's both, I think that's extremely important, especially with what's happening right now, where there seems to be more and more control. by the powers that want to be. We, the people, have the power. We have really the control if we just realize it. So I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's very, very important.
David, thank you so much. And I have a link to your website and also to ag.load.one, and people can check that out and get connected to the Telegram group and everything. And for everybody who's watching, if you have any questions and comments regarding silver or load, let me know in the description below. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto David signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.